from a legal standpoint, I work in the communications office at the Minnesota Department of Health, and we, in the communications office, are actually the ones, I'll example it, that have been working on implementing various Web 2.0 technologies. For a couple of years we've had RSS feeds, we do some podcasts, some video on the web. We've got a Twitter account probably about the same time as you, April, and other types of Web 2.0. But one of the things that our legal counsel has reminded us that many of the stuff that we are signing, we maybe should not be signing until we get an official opinion. And he gave me a whole list of things that I should talk about, and he claimed it was a partial list. And I said, yes, sir, I will make sure to tell people it's only a partial list. And so I'm going to come from a legal point of view, and I'm not a lawyer. I'm just trying to send his message to you in terms of what some of the issues are for the Department of Health. A couple of things. As we move ahead, as the agency move ahead, because this Web 2.0 stuff is like, I would say a glacier, but it's not a glacier. It's something moving quite fast. We come up with issues that people always ask us because we're the communications office. One entity that we look towards too is the federal government. As you know, federal government, especially with the CDC, very, very active in 2.0 technology. They have Second Life, MySpace, podcast, RSS feed, email subscription, Twitter. Who followed the CDC during the peanut scare early in the year? Who did that? I did. And the first day I followed, thank goodness I have an unlimited text plan thanks to my teenage daughter. I got 15 tweets saying this was being recalled, that's being recalled. They just hammered me. But one thing for federal government is they have one agency that has done something that's very nice, has modified the end user license agreement so that federal agencies, all federal agencies can use and have gone into agreements with Facebook, MySpace, YouTube, and so forth. The state of Minnesota, we do not. So we're actually in the process of asking for an opinion from the Attorney General's office on how we can best use these tools. And some of the issues that they came up with is very interesting. It is actually agreeing to the end user license agreements when you sign up. Oh, Web 2.0 stuff, one of the things, very easy to enter and start using. Low barrier to entry, very, very easy to start using. You go to a website, you sign up, whammo, you can be part of Web 2.0. But as a state agency, the end user's license agreement is one of the big issues. Some of the big words he's want me to talk about indemnification in terms of the lawsuit and whether or not we can be, I'm not sure, again, I'm not an attorney, liable if Facebook gets sued by someone and they can pass it on to us. That's not good. The other that you talked about, I never thought about this, is the location of the lawsuit. The state of Minnesota, although they don't like to get sued, they prefer if the suit was in Minnesota, not in Kansas, California, or some other state. That was very interesting. And the other interesting thing is, is we're trying to grapple with this because what we've done internally is I've implemented some internal blogs for a commissioner and a few of our programs. We're grappling with how do we do an external blog, because with a blog you can have comments. Well, comments mean that how do you keep track of that, how to moderate it, what level of moderation. His point of view is it's like a virtual public square. The comment is no different, and our legal counsel is very conservative, than if someone was out in front of the Justice building walking with a sign back and forth. And some of our programs ask, well, if we say something in a blog and some comments, can we just delete it? And he's saying, well, I don't think so. So that's a big issue for us, is how do we deal with comments. simplest is no comments at all. But that was very interesting. I didn't think about that one. The another thing is the ownership of content. Since you are using Facebook, YouTube, MySpace, and some of the other applications, the content you're creating is actually on their server, not on ours. And for the Department of Health, that's a really, really big issue, very big issue. So that's the other thing. And some of the other issues include ADA. Not all the Web 2.0 websites are ADA compliant. We, as an agency, are very cognitive of ADA compliance. With our website, very boring, a lot of text, but very ADA friendly. So for us, that's really important. A lot of the 2.0 websites simply are not that friendly. So that's important. Controlling the age of users. Some of the stuff we put out there from, let's say, our HIV and STD staff programs aren't really for the younger audience. So this website is completely open. So we're cognitive of that as well. The other is, if you have a Facebook account, they're trying to make money, right? You see ads. Well, we as a state agency, we can't endorse any ads, even though it shows up on our page. So there has to be a way to tell us that, you see an ad there, we have nothing to do with it. But to our legal counsel, that's an important thing, is how do we deal with that information? And finally is the procurement. How many people know how many Web 2.0 sites are out there? Can you give me a guess?
180?
Very close. Last count was over 230, 240. These are the ones that I kind of know of. It is exploding. There are just hundreds. And our chief legal counsel said, well, why Facebook and not MySpace? And why not Mr. Wong? And why not Big? And why not this? And we just, our communications directors here just went up like this. So those are the issues that came up, in terms of the legal issues that are barriers for the agency. Has that prevented us from moving forward? Not really. I'm sure that there are some rogue Web 2.0 sites that we don't know about. We try to keep it as close as possible. We work, at least with the communications office, very closely with other within our department programs. If they want to have a Twitter account or something, that we'll work with them. One of the first questions we ask is, why do you want it? And who needs it? How are you going to maintain it? And some of the issues that he brought up, I wrote down. What is your process? What are you going to post? How are you going to post? And this is the most important thing. How are you going to tell the people who you are? Are you speaking as Richard Fong, private citizen? Or are you going to answer as a representative over here of the Minnesota Department of Health? Those are really important because we all, who has a Facebook page? Come on, admit it. Oh, great. All right. So I have a Facebook page. Many of my colleagues have Facebook pages. At what point do what's personal and what's, when are we representing the Minnesota Department of Health? And that's really important. And we go through that all the time. The other thing in terms of what we do at the Department of Health is, did you notice some of the stuff that I rattled off? Really, and I think he said it the best, is it's a one-way communication. We would prefer RSS and podcast because we are communicating to them. They're not adding any comments yet. Eventually that's going to happen. But right now we're, I wouldn't say risk adverse, but we are comment adverse right now of Web 2.0. Eventually we'll get there. And I think pretty soon we will be getting it because, again, we have asked the Attorney General to give us an opinion in terms of some of the end users agreement